Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, LSU beats Iowa, Giannis tops Joel Embiid, and Tiger prepares for another run at the Masters.
Let's move to last night's women's title game. LSU got a big boost from its bench to top Caitlin Clark in Iowa by 17. It's Coach Kim Mulkey's fourth title, first since she moved from Baylor to LSU just 2 years ago. Notable in his absence from the title game was South Carolina, who dominated the season until falling to Iowa on Friday night. Caitlin Clark went crazy. Tony, is the bigger story who won the tournament or who did not?
The bigger story is who won, because who won scored 102 points in the final game, because who won shot out of their minds from three in the first half, which enabled them to win 10 of 13 from three for LSU in the first half. That's 77%. Look, I do not want to be misinterpreted here. LSU was the better team. They were better than Iowa. They were better. That's for the third time I'm going to say it. That reffing was atrocious. The people that ref that game should not be allowed to ref any other game ever. Mike, you always say this. You always say nobody goes to a baseball game to see an umpire throw somebody out of the game. Nobody tuned in that game to see referees put Caitlin Clark on the bench. They didn't do that. Again, LSU was the better team. Perhaps some of it, a little of it, was the fact that, that Iowa expended everything they had to beat South Carolina, which I certainly didn't think they could do, and I don't know how much they had left. But Kim Mulkey is a great coach. She has now won at two different schools. Nobody else in a women's game has done that, so let's give her and LSU credit.
Yeah, Tony, LSU's better. I mean, so it's about who won the tournament. And I've looked at some headlines on various pages and even in newspapers, and it's used the word upset. And I'm like, shut up. Who's writing this headline? Because that's just dumb. LSU has more good players than Iowa. This isn't debatable. Put your stupid metrics away and watch the game, and you know that LSU has more good players than Iowa has, and LSU has a Hall of Fame coach. Not the college basketball Hall of Fame, Not the state of Louisiana Hall of Fame. The Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame, Kim Mulkey, all right? So she knows what she's doing. Everybody knows she knows what she's doing. And, Tony, she had a couple of days. She had 2 games to study where she looked at Caitlin Clark and what Iowa did and said, wait a minute. She's killed 2 people. She's eliminated 2 people, including the undefeated defending national champs. And she, of course, and her players knew what to do. So I didn't look at this as any sort of lacking in the Final Four. The better team won, period.
So I didn't understand why LSU was a 3 seed. They were 33-2, and one of their losses was to the undefeated South Carolina team. They should have been a 2. I thought they should have been a 2, but that's a minor thing. I will say this: it got record ratings. Record ratings. It may outdraw the men's game tonight. I spoke to 10 or 12 people yesterday who all said to me they were going home to watch that game, and they may never to watch Caitlin Clark, and they may never have watched a women's basketball tournament before, and they wanted to watch that. We move now to a favorite topic on this show, the NBA MVP race. When last we left off on Friday, Joel Embiid was the favorite by a narrow margin over Nikola Jokic and by a wide margin over Giannis Antetokounmpo. But yesterday, Milwaukee beat Philadelphia by 13 points, and Antetokounmpo outscored, out-rebounded, out-assisted, out-stole, and out-blocked Embiid, and I don't know what else there is. And he was 13-17 while Embiid was 11-25. Well, I know Embiid is your boy, but how could you vote for him now?
I didn't say I was voting for him now. Did you ask me if I was voting for him now?
Are you voting for him now? I'm asking you, are you voting for him now?
Today, no. Today, the vote goes to Antetokounmpo. And we haven't even seen Jokic for 4 games or 5 out of 6 or something like that. And that's one of the edges that Jokic had was his availability. He had played more games than either Giannis or Joel Embiid. But that's starting to even out a little bit, Tony, as he's missed these games. And I understand, I'm not blaming Jokic. I mean, I understand you want Jokic. You need him if you are the Denver Nuggets to be as healthy as possible when the playoffs start in 2 weeks or a little less than that. So I get that. No, it's Giannis, Tone. It's Giannis today. There's only 1 week left in the regular season. It's a regular season award.
That's
so if I
right.
was casting
That's
my
right.
ballot tonight, and I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait as long as I can, but it's going to Antetokounmpo right now from where I sit.
Good. Yeah, because I'm going to go through this, what I went through the other day. Giannis Antetokounmpo has led his team to a higher place in the conference standings than Joel Embiid's team. And when they play each other head-to-head, Antetokounmpo crushes. And let me just review some of these things. 33-28 in points, 14-9 in rebounds, 6-5 in assists, 1-0 in steals, and 3-0 in blocks. Plus, Antetokounmpo was plus 21, and Embiid was minus 10. That is total domination, Holmes. So at the basis of that, there is no rationale to vote for Embiid. I'm not crazy about this award because I don't think it often goes to the right guy. I think LeBron should have won 6-8. I think Jordan should have won 8-10. But people get tired of voting for the same guy, so they move on. But if you're talking about what's valuable, leading your team to number 1 in the conference.
Number 1 seed.
Most wins in the NBA, and you crush the guy at the same position when you play. Thank you. Thank you. It's Antetokounmpo. Let's find out what's on the minds of the minions. Let me get the first one here.
Time.
Tiger practice at Augusta yesterday. Do you see him as having a good shot, a long shot, or no shot of winning?
I mean, a shot, a shot, closer to long shot. I'm not going to say no shot because he won 5 times there. And it just seems like a place where he could go, Tony, even in his diminished physical capacity. And you and I have, name dropping, walked Augusta National. We know how difficult it is to just walk the golf course. The topographical changes are just unbelievable there. You can't always tell on television. So a shot, Tony, but I'm not going to go crazy and say, I know he made the cut last year. I get that. It's his place. It's probably his happy place. But, Tone, there got to be 8 to 10 guys you got to have as a favorite above Tiger.
8 to 10? Oh, no, there's many more than that. Look, he doesn't have
20.
no shot because, as you said, he's won it 5 times. And he's produced the greatest golf ever at Augusta. Okay, so he doesn't have no shot. But he's at best a long shot. He's a sentimental choice for people. Last year he made the cut, and he hadn't played at all before that. This year I think he's played in 1 tournament, so maybe that's a little bit better. The truth is, if you gave us truth serum, we would say he has no shot. But we don't want to say that on television because there's always the possibility that on Sunday he's like 5 or 6 shots back. Not that he's going to win, but that there's hope. You can dream something like that. But honestly, though, we both say it's a long shot. It is closer to no shot, right? Happy anniversary, Gregg Popovich. On this day 4 years ago, the Spurs coach was ejected in a record 63 seconds. Just the other day, Popovich was elected to the Hall of Fame and said, quote, I just felt like the Hall of Fame was for Red Holtzman, Red Auerbach, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson. You put people's names in like mine, and it's like the SAT test. Which doesn't fit? I'm not trying to be Mr. Humble or anything. I'm a Division III guy, not a Hall of Fame guy, unquote. Really? Might that not be a tad self-serving? Can you name a D3 guy with the most wins in NBA history, 5 championships and an Olympic gold medal? Popovich is the longest tenured active coach in the 4 major American pro sports, 27 seasons. And let's see what happens if the Spurs get Wembanyama.
Ooh, I know, Tony, that 5 championships could increase if they get Wembanyama. Wow. I mean, they had David Robinson, who was a 1 overall, Tim Duncan, who was a 1 overall, and Wembanyama, he's going to be a 1 overall for somebody. Oh, my goodness, if he winds up on the Spurs. Wow.
Happy trails to a lockout in the NBA. The NBA and the Players Association have agreed on a new 7-year deal. It feels like everything's going to be pretty much the same. Players, though, now will have to play in 65 games to be eligible for lucrative postseason awards. But all 3 leading MVP candidates would likely get there if they had to. Jokic is already at 67. Embiid is at 64. Antetokounmpo is at 62 with 4 games to go. The one-and-done rule will remain in place. There's going to be some kind of in-season tournament that no one really understands yet. Spending money by rich teams will be curbed to encourage parity, and players will make more money than ever. Is anyone really surprised? Mike, you follow this.
Yeah, nobody's really surprised, I guess, Tony. Maybe they thought it'd be more contentious, but the thing is, this in-season tournament, every time I try to get a reasonable response as to why or what will change or why would it be appealing to anybody over like 14 years old and follows international soccer, I don't get a good enough answer. Other than that, congratulations.
So I feel exactly the same way you do, that everybody seems to be rushing to have a soccer tournament in the middle of their season. I mean, as it is now, the regular season is endless. Why would you include more games for some tournament that nobody is truly going to understand, right?
Don't
They're not
get
going
a
to understand
satisfactory explanation at all.
All right, let's go to the big finish. Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN says the Warriors expect Andrew Wiggins back this week. Do you see that as a big deal?
Yes, because the Warriors cannot and will not win without Wiggins in that lineup. No chance. Georgia defensive lineman Jalen Carter will only visit teams who have a top 10 pick, Tony. Does that make sense?
Well, it shows that he thinks he's going to be a top 10 at the worst, like 8, 9, 10 at the worst. What if he falls to 11? Is he going to sit out for a year? Or what is he going to do? The Grizzlies blew a 23-point lead to the Bulls. Is that significant?
No, it isn't. It really isn't. The Knicks clinched the playoff spot. Are you on or off the bandwagon, Mr. New York?
Okay, I'm off. I mean, you know the Knicks that I love. No, I'm not jumping on now just because I was born and raised in New York. If I don't love the team,
my man Jalen Brunson, I'm on.
I don't love the team. You only love him because he's from Chicago. Last one.
Yeah.
The Mavericks lost to the Hawks. Are they finally done?
Tony, I think they are. They're not mathematically done yet, but they're 2 games effectively behind the Thunder for that last, play-in spot. I think Dallas is going to be done. And then watch out. Woo.
We're out of time. We will try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.